How far would you go to protect a newborn baby? Me and my best friend Alice always joked about raising a child together. We were like fire boy and water girl. Obviously, as we got older, the dream started to fade, but we never stopped being close. So when she finally got pregnant, I was ecstatic. I did everything I could to make sure I'd be a good aunt, the type to secretly slip her baby girl $5 and whisper, "Don't tell your mom." And her boyfriend's mom, Vanessa, was just as excited as me. We were all at Alice's house one day when Vanessa started taking videos of us sitting by the fire. I can't wait for baby Isadora to be born. I'm gonna plaster her all over social media," Vanessa exclaimed. I giggled, but Alice's face stayed completely straight. "That's not happening," she said, her voice assertive and cold. And TBH, at first I thought she was being a little overdramatic, until she gave her explanation. She told us that she had watched a lot of cop shows with sting operations, where officers go undercover and catch kitty fiddlers, and that she had seen men preying on children's photos online. I thought about all the creepy comments under TikTok videos of newborn babies. Yep, made sense to me. But Vanessa disagreed. She told Alice she was being paranoid and allowing her life to be ruled by fear. You see, Vanessa was really big into vlogging everything. She only had 1,000 followers, but she couldn't even get through an hour without updating her page about what she was up to. I expected Alice's husband to intervene and at least try to discourage his mother, but no. "I think the pregnancy hormones are making you crazy," he said with a straight face. If that was my husband, I would have gone off on him. But Alice is a better person than me, so she just said, "My word is final," before rubbing her stomach and lying down on the couch. Fast forward to November when her water broke. I was in the middle of work, so I rushed to the bathroom to make vomiting sounds for an hour straight just so I could rush to the hospital without getting fired. But somehow I was still the first one there, because her husband was in the middle of getting a haircut, while her mother-in-law sat and waited for the haircut to be finished. Like, what? Anyway, the whole thing just made me glad that I was there to hold her hand during the contractions. It wasn't until baby Isadora's head started crowning that they finally strolled in, walking at a slow, reasonable pace. It took everything in me not to grab the IV drip and strangle them until they were apologizing over and over, because this was about Alice and Isadora, not them. And after almost 20 hours, I was cut Isadora's umbilical cord. She had Alice's soft tan skin, and she had her husband's bright green eyes. Stunning. And when I noticed her male take her phone out to snap a photo, I slapped her hand and glared at her until she put it away. Meanwhile, Alice was on the brink of death. She had a severe postpartum hemorrhage and lost so much blood that they had to rush her into emergency surgery. I figured Alice would be in the ICU for a while, so I called in sick to work again and started making small talk with her husband and Miel while holding Isadora in my arms. By that point, I had been awake for such a long time that when Isadora fell asleep, I fell asleep too. And when I woke up 3 hours later, she was gone. I started panicking, but that's when Alice's husband told me that his mother-in-law was lying beside her in the hospital bed, so I peeped through the curtain to check on them. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. There's no way there was any funny business going on. She would surely respect the mother's wishes. Well, folks, I hate to be the one to say it, but I caught her MIL with her phone out, taking dozens of photos of Isadora. I grabbed it from her and she was like a deer in headlights. I told her that if she tried to come near me to get it back, I would throw it into the toilet. When Alice got the okay from the nurses, I waited until she was a little more rested to tell her what had happened. I hadn't opened the phone since then, so that was the first time I was looking at the evidence. So there we were, going through her Miles camera roll, when we were faced with dozens of photos of newborn baby Isadora in a tiny bikini, a tutu, lace, barely clothed. Alice almost threw up. We kept searching through her apps, and that's when everything finally made sense, because these weren't just for her followers. She was selling them on Twitter for $5 a pop. But that wasn't even the worst part, because in some of the photos, her mother-in-law was literally posing in red undergarments, which meant her husband was the one behind the camera. Full story on channel, link below.